everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Halverson Palace series. I hope all of you had an amazing summer break. I know I did. I took a little bit of a break for the past couple months from filming and writing the story, but I'm back now, and there's a lot of things that I want to do in this episode, so sit tight and let's get into it. We will get into the machinima a little bit later, but I did want to start off at Elena and Aiden's house because I wanted to focus a little bit on Maria and how she's been doing since everything that happened last episode. Maria, so it's been about 2.5 months since the whole incident that happened at the Valentine's Day dance. And Maria has been spending time with her family, kind of healing from the whole situation. Many friends have reached out, but she hasn't really reached out back. She actually just recently started reaching out to her friends again. She had a conversation with Khalil because she wanted to get the full story of what happened between Raymond and Jordan, but she wanted to talk to somebody who was not really involved in the situation but knew the story, and she isn't really close with Khalil, but she did call him to tell her the whole story, and he basically told Maria everything that he overheard Jordan say to Tanisha about what happened with Raymond. As far as things with Raymond, he hasn't reached out at all. Maria left that night, obviously in tears, as we saw, and since then she has gotten phone calls and text messages from her friends asking if she's okay, letting her know that she has a shoulder to cry on if she needs anything, and they're here for her. As far as Raymond, he hasn't done anything like that. He hasn't called her, he hasn't texted her, he hasn't reached out at all. He's gone completely MIA and hasn't apologized, hasn't even texted her to see if she's okay from everything that happened. And I think Maria is obviously very disappointed by that, and it's really sad because, you know, she had a relationship with this guy and he didn't seem to value her as much as she valued him. So it's just really upsetting for her, and she has so many unanswered questions, but at the end of the day, I think she's better off. And as far as things with Jordan go, so Jordan and Maria haven't talked since the dance either. Maria kind of wanted to take a break from the whole situation and focus on spending time with her family, doing things that she loves, kind of reground herself and heal from everything that happened. Obviously, Jordan is very important to her. They're best friends. You know, they've known each other since they were little. But this whole situation definitely made Maria upset and angry that Jordan didn't talk to her right away. Although I think now that time has passed, she has come to a place more of understanding rather than anger and resentment. So I'm actually planning on fixing their relationship today. Jordan has called Maria once a day. He hasn't gone completely overboard because he wants to give her space, but he has called every day just to, you know, show her that he's there and he's there when she's ready for a conversation and stuff like that. Well, she hasn't picked up his phone calls until today, so I think what we're going to do, we're actually going to call Jordan and invite him over. They changed the setup of the phone and now I don't know where anything is. So Jordan is here, and it's been such a long time. I'm sure they're very excited to see each other. He was feeling bored about a second ago, but now he's feeling happy from having a pleasant conversation. So it seems that things are going really well, which is good because it has been such a long time since these two have talked. So I'm sure Jordan feels super guilty about everything that happened. He feels embarrassed that he kept a secret from Maria, even though we all know that he was trying to do it with good intentions of not outing Raymond, because that is a big deal. But at the end of the day, it did end up hurting Maria, and it was just a very tough and tricky situation altogether to begin with. And I'm sure Jordan is thanking Maria for letting him come talk to her. It's been such a long time. I know that he misses her too. and they're just rekindling their friendship, thank God. And yeah, I'm sure it means a lot to both of them, because at the end of the day, I feel like this relationship means more than any romantic relationship that Maria is trying to have, or even Jordan is trying to have. They've been best friends for such a long time, so I think this was really important to rekindle their friendship and, have everything go the way that it is. I feel like they're not themselves without each other, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's good to see them okay again. Okay, so as these two sit and chit chat, I am going to head to the Walters Palace. Okay, so back at the Walters Palace, we are here to address something that Erica is putting together. So right now we're in the, meeting room, monarch's office type of place. Maybe this could be considered Carmen's office. Carmen and Etta are here, as well as Erica and some members of the SSF. If you don't remember from season 1, the SSF stands for the Saving Salvadorada Foundation. When Erica was younger, she wanted to start a foundation to help build up the then third world country, being Salvadorada. And she did that for about the next 5 years before season 2 started. Yeah, that's where she was. But things are going a little bit differently considering the events that just occurred in the machinima. So yes, in the machinima, the volcano in the islands of Sulani has erupted and caused a bigger explosion than expected. Sulani is very important and relevant to Erica as well as her twin sister Annalise, because that's where they used to vacation when they were little with their father. So it does have some sort of sentimental value. So it definitely hurt Erica when she saw what was happening on the island, and because of that, I feel like Erica feels even more of a reason to be compelled to help the island and to help the people on the island and rebuild everything that has been destroyed, etc. So right now she has gathered the SSF together. The Saving Salvadorada Foundation has done lots of work on Salvadorada, obviously, but now Erica wants to add an extension to the foundation to kind of take part in what's happening in Sulani and help rebuild Sulani, etc. So she has brought everyone here because the foundation was originally created in the Halverson kingdom, alongside her mother. But because Erica and Genevieve are no longer on good terms, considering everything that happened not last episode but the episode before, we are moving the meeting place of the SSF to the Walters Kingdom. So now Erica doesn't have help from her mother, doesn't have help from the Halverson Kingdom. So she has asked Carmen and Etta for their input on the whole situation. More so about financial donors, as well as how, the royal family of the Walters Kingdom can help in any way to obviously promote the workings of the foundation, get people to help, etc. And I think this would be a good opportunity for maybe either of them to mention how most of the, noble families in the kingdom and people of high class society are obviously very wealthy. And I think what would be helpful for them to want to donate to the foundation, to want to offer help, etc., would be to make it as if there's something that they specifically and personally could benefit from. So in this case, I was thinking a lot of noble children and people of high class kids go to private schools, like the one that George and Jordan and Angelica and Raymond go to. And it would be cool if we could implement a program offered to the high school students, the private school students, to come along on the journey to Sulani and help rebuild and help entertain the children and help bring some, positivity back into such a, crazy natural disaster. We had options like this offered at my high school, so I thought it would be something cool to implement here. I also think it would be a great opportunity for all the kids that we play with who are teenagers, and have that option available to them, and whoever wants to go can go. But yeah, we could get those high school students to go, and then their parents would obviously donate because it's a great opportunity and a good program, and maybe they could get some sort of academic credit from doing so as well. I thought it would be cool. I think Maria, once she catches wind of this, she would definitely push to go. She doesn't go to a private school. She takes private lessons at the Halverson Palace. But hearing that Erica is obviously heading this, I think she would definitely want to go. She's always wanted to leave and do things outside of the kingdoms. So maybe she would call Erica, ask Erica if she could go on this trip, and when Erica obviously says yes, because Maria is Erica's favorite cousin, I think Maria would be like, can you please help me convince my mom? Because we all know how strict Elena can be. But yeah, that's what this meeting was about. It was about the financial aid that they're going to offer to Sulani, how they're going to help through the foundation, and how to get donors and extra help from the Walters Royals. And I think Erica is obviously extremely appreciative of her sister-in-law and her in-laws in general to help her on her mission. It was also mentioned in the machinima that Erica is using this as an excuse to get farther away from her mother, which I guess is a good use of time. Unfortunately, Erica and Genevieve have not rekindled their relationship since everything that happened with the NDA and not being able to tell her children about the magical powers that they possess. Hopefully that will end soon enough. They say time heals everything, but with this, I guess we'll just see. Speaking of Genevieve, why don't we go over to the Halverson Palace and see what she's up to? Okay, so back at the palace, Leroy and Genevieve are in the middle of a conversation. They're probably saying goodnight to each other because it is nighttime. It's time for Leroy to finish his shift and head home. So I imagine that they're just talking about, you can see them. They're flirting. They're basically just saying goodnight to each other. The two of them, as I mentioned in the last episode, the two of them have been getting a lot closer over the last couple months. During the time between last episode to this episode, I imagine that they got even more closer, and their friendship for each other has grown stronger, and their romantic feelings for each other has grown stronger as well, which is really sweet. Genevieve actually made an effort to push her lunch hour to be at the same time as Leroy's, so that the two of them could have lunch together and spend even more time together. I mean, they're always together working, so I guess this would be when they would spend lunch together, would technically be considered leisure time that they're spending together. So that's nice. Obviously, they can't get enough of each other. Actually, during one of their recent lunch breaks, Marchioness Iris walked in on them having tea, and it could be considered a little risque that Miss Queen Genevieve is spending so much time with Leroy and possibly creating a romantic relationship, because technically Leroy is one of Queen Genevieve's employees. So Marchioness Iris was a little bit taken back by this, but she just tried to mention to Genevieve that if she wants to spend time with anyone else for lunch, like a suitor or a companion, Marchioness Iris is more than happy to offer any of her opinions or friends that Genevieve could potentially spend time with. But Genevieve was like, no thank you, Iris, I don't want your hand stirring in my love life. which definitely wasn't the response that Iris was expecting, because nobody mentioned love until Genevieve brought it up. So it's very clear that her feelings for Leroy, she cannot contain any longer, and I think are starting to show through. Even more recently, Leroy actually confessed his feelings for Genevieve. Genevieve went to go check on him to ask him if he feels like she's smothering him too much, because they do spend a lot of time together during the day, and now they're spending even more time together. And Leroy was like, of course not. He said to her that he has felt things for her that he didn't believe would ever be possible again since his late wife passed away. And even though they spend so much time together, there aren't enough hours in the day because he can't get enough of her. And it was a very sweet moment. But because of all the anxiety that Queen Genevieve has towards the backlash that she could receive from the kingdom and the media and everyone else about her having a romantic relationship with one of her employees, she doesn't want to take it to the next step. She's scared. Not so much for the backlash that she will receive, but the backlash that Leroy receives. She feels like he doesn't deserve that, and he's such a awesome guy. She doesn't want to put him through any pain or torture or I guess exploitation like that. So she has held off from actually admitting how she feels about Leroy and kind of rejected him, which wasn't, I guess, the best feeling. So as Leroy is bidding farewell to the queen, I imagine she asks him, do you have any plans for tonight? And Leroy would say, actually, I do. I'm going on a date tonight. So Leroy has had this awakening since developing romantic feelings for Genevieve, that he has the ability to harness romantic feelings to another person. He thought that wouldn't be possible after his wife passed away and he would, end up single for the rest of his life. But after realizing this, he understands that he doesn't want to grow old alone. He really wants to find love again and enjoy some sort of relationship that he can have for the rest of his life. He's looking for love. He wants something real and something that lasts. And if Genevieve, from Leroy's stance, isn't reciprocating the same romantic feelings, then he wants to find it somewhere else. He wants to try to move on. Obviously, he's still very much in love with Genevieve, as Genevieve is with him, which he doesn't know yet. But at the same time, the clock is ticking and he doesn't have time for little teenage love games. He wants to find love. So tonight he's going on a date. And I think when mentioning that to Genevieve, she would be completely shocked and taken back and not expect this at all. So I think her response would kind of be like, oh, have fun. I didn't know. Good for you. So here he goes off on his date, and I think as soon as the doors would close, Genevieve immediately called guards to follow him. We know that Genevieve can be a little bit irrational when it comes to her emotions taking over her psyche. Her brain might be telling her one thing, but her heart will overtake that, and she'll react recklessly, as we've seen her do with Erica, etc. So in this case, obviously, she's feeling very distraught that the person that she loves is going on a date with someone, and I think her being nosy and over-emotional, she would be like, well, I have to know everything. I have to know if he enjoys it. I have to know what she looks like. I have to know this. I have to know that. And so she would order guards to go follow him on his date, which is very immature, but that's what she would do. So why don't we go check on Leroy and see how things are actually doing? Okay, so here we are with our two guards at this restaurant by the famous Brindleton Bay Lighthouse, aka Halverson Kingdom Lighthouse. We're here at this beautiful restaurant. The guards have followed Leroy here. I guess this is where they're having their date. So here is Leroy and his date. If you recognize this woman, it's because she is the sim that I used as the news anchor in the machinima at the beginning of the episode. But she's very pretty, so I had to use her a second time, and I made her Leroy's date. So I don't know how these two would have met. I imagine maybe Leroy's daughter, Thalia, set them up. because she feels like Leroy should get back out on the dating scene as well. But look at him, he's so cute in his little tie. They're both feeling flirty from going on a dinner date, which is very sweet. But unfortunately, we are going to ruin it because these two have a job to do. Their job isn't to ruin the date, but their job is to spy on Leroy. So why don't we get them to come here and they can kind of hide behind this wall and spy on them as discreetly as possible. Let's face it, at the end of the day, this is not what these two signed up for. They signed up to guard the queen. They didn't know that they would be doing any funny business like this. Leroy also is technically their boss. I mean, they follow orders from the queen, but Leroy oversees those orders. So I think it would be super awkward for them to be spying on their manager, let's say. And obviously Leroy can see them from this corner of his eye, and because let's face it, these guys are not spies. They don't know what they're doing. They're not secret detectives, okay? This was not in the cards for when they signed up for this job. So I think Leroy would obviously notice them out of the corner of his eye and feel super uncomfortable and maybe excuse himself so he can talk to these guys and be like, what are you doing here? Can you go away, please? So let's get him to stand up and talk. Oh, they're gonna come here. Okay, that's fine. Let's just pretend that he went up to them so that her poor, what's her name? Kendra. Poor Kendra isn't involved in this confrontation. But yeah, I think he would get up and say, what are you doing? Oh, they're shaking hands. Okay. I think Leroy would be like, what are you two doing here? Why have you come here to spy on me and crash my date? Who sent you here? And I think they would want to lie to keep their loyalty to the queen and not tell, not rat her out. But I think Leroy is able to put two and two together and be like, wow, she really did that, huh? She really sent these people to come spy on me on my date. Like, what am I, 3 years old? I can't go on a date by myself. So I feel like this might make Leroy a little agitated, especially considering the reason why he's going on this date is to get over his feelings for Genevieve, which she said that she didn't reciprocate. So it's like wherever he goes, he can't escape her because she even made guards spy on him. But we'll just have to see their confrontation in the next episode. So yeah, that's where I'm going to end it off. Please let me know if you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.